Welcome. Welcome to our online worship service here at First Parish Unitarian Universalists here in Medfield. For as we know, this congregation is so much more than a building. There's a few announcements I'd like to draw your attention to. As last week, the order of service was sent to you on Thursday in the same email where you found the link to this worship service. And likewise, we will be doing our Wednesday evening Vespers service at 7 p.m. each week as well. And the link in the order of service for that will be sent out Mondays. So that's where you can find that. Also, I think we're all getting the hang of how this works, but while you're not speaking, we would ask that you keep your mute button muted. All that does is simply mute your microphone so that we're not hearing all of the background noise. But please don't hesitate during joys and sorrows, or if you're doing a reading, to unmute your microphone so that we can hear you. And also, the question I've gotten quite a bit since we've started doing this is, can I invite others? Of course you can. We welcome it. This is no different from inviting someone to church. So feel free to share the Zoom link with whoever you would like to. The Zoom link is also now found on our webpage. It's on the homepage. Right where it says what the upcoming service will be, the link will be found there. Likewise, I've also posted on Facebook, so spread widely. Welcome. Welcome to this place. Here we search for truth and understanding. We celebrate life and we contemplate its mysteries. We share healing and wholeness. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we welcome you to this congregation. We're so glad you're with us this morning. And now I would like to invite Jen Bartle to read our chalice lighting.
In sightless night, terrors draw near, alone and unknown in the gloom, longing for the dawn. O sacred flame, blaze forth, wisdom brought to life. Guide us with the light of hope, the warmth of love, the beacon of purpose and meaning. Because we are all afraid of the dark, let there be light.
Now I will light our chalice. Our opening hymn this morning is Just as Long as I Have Breath. Now, Eva will sing and play our hymn. You are invited and welcome to join in singing, but we do ask that you mute your microphone simply because the delay would sound pretty silly.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dreams and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappoint and pierce me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Now I'd like to invite Marshall Sugarman on behalf of the Annual Fund Drive Committee to give us an update on the pledge drive.
Good morning, everybody. want firstly for you to take a look at our Love Connects Us banner behind me. Hopefully everybody can see that well. Thumbs up. Jackson Raza, hopefully you're out there. And I know David Stevenson, you're out there. And I'm wearing this hat for you two in particular, but I know there's a lot of rabid Red Sox fans out there. And I thought it was appropriate I'd wear this hat today because of the B and Boston Strong. But I would say after talking with a lot of you this week and connecting electronically, it should be an F here too for First Parish Strong. And then ultimately a W for World Strong, because I want to echo Sarah Drum's expression of optimism and faith earlier, because in speaking with all of you, there is no doubt we are rallying as a community, and there is no doubt we all find our place to be a sacred one. And although we can't physically be with each other in our wonderful meeting house, this virtual service is very healing for all of us, I know. And but I really could not be more proud of our congregation. If you can now look behind me, you can see we've had a number of new additions to our visual, which is tracking our annual fund drive. And I do have to just show you our cat Ray, for all of those of you who know him, because he's feeling pretty chill right now. But seriously, we've had a phenomenal outpouring of love for our church. And Rev Dave, I've got to say, the community is rallying behind you, and we are rallying for each other, and love connects us. Again, as you can see, we have now popped down to the third row of people who have pledged, and we are up to, we've just cracked $75,000 that's been raised. And what is remarkable to me is that, so this time last year for the full drive, we had raised just about $5,500 from a small group of congregants to put money into the matching pledge pool. And we have raised just shy of $10,000 for our matching pledge pool from, again, a small group of congregants. And so to remind everybody who has not yet pledged, the way this works is for every dollar that you increase your pledge over last year, it's matched dollar for dollar from the matching pledge pool. And so we still have a very long way to go, as you can tell, but we are on track to hitting our goal, or please, exceeding our goal of $130,000. And absolutely all of you have stepped up. And again, Jackson, Boston Strong, First Parish Strong, and World Strong. Could not be more proud of the church. And thank you all. When your annual fund drive leaders ping you this coming week, please continue to give as generously as you can. And obviously, we recognize everybody's circumstances have completely changed. But really, I love all of you, and thank you. That's my update.
Well, thank you, Marshall, and to the whole annual fund drive committee for all the hard work you've been doing, you continue to do. And I would also like to thank you all for giving so generously. I know many of you have stepped up in the last week, knowing that the need is even greater for so many of us. So in that spirit, I would actually like to share with you a story. This is a short story I found called The Monastery on a Cliff. There's a story about a monastery perched high on a cliff, several hundred feet in the air. Now, the only way to reach the monastery was to be suspended in a basket, which was pulled to the top by several monks who pulled and tugged with all of their strength. And as you can imagine, the ride up the cliff in a basket was terrifying. A visitor to the monastery was riding in that basket, and about halfway up, he got really nervous. And he noticed that the rope by which he was suspended was old and frayed. With a trembling voice, he asked the old monk who was riding with him how often they changed that rope. The monk thought for a moment and then answered, "Whenever it breaks." May this be the year when we here at First Parish in Medfield don't have to wait for something to break. So this morning's offering will now be given and gratefully received. Something to point out that many of you will put money in the collection plates on a Sunday, and you'll also pledge a certain amount over the course of the year. So this morning we're going to be bold enough to ask for both. The way we're going to do this morning is we would ask you to write a check, and you can send that to the church. The address is 26 North Street, Medfield, Massachusetts, 02052. If you didn't catch that, that is obviously on our website. And while you're writing your checks, getting your checkbooks, we are going to hear from John, Becca, and Rachel Cornett as they sing one song.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Oh, thank you so much. What a gift. Now I'd like to invite Jess and Nate Raza for this morning's dramatic reading.
Yep. This morning's dramatic reading is an excerpt from Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible. The following is a conversation between Elizabeth and John Proctor. They are discussing Giles Corey, who was falsely accused of witchcraft and tortured to death.
And Giles?
You have not heard of it?
I hear nothing where I am kept.
Giles is dead.
When were he hanged?
He were not hanged.
Then how does he die?
They pressed him, John.
Press.
Great stones they laid on his chest until he plead a or nay. And they say he give them but 2 words. More weight, he says, and died.
More weight.
Here ends the reading.
Ever since I was a little boy, I always loved to go camping. Now my family continues to camp every summer. And I love just about everything about camping, being out in nature, hiking, fishing, going to the beach, being away from all of those things in our daily lives that buzz and beep and distract us. But what I love most about camping is sitting around the campfire. It's dark outside. The heat from the day is finally let go. And that sweatshirt I brought, it finally really feels good to have it on. We sit on those tree stumps. We gaze into the divine brilliance of the fire. We sing a song or two. We chat about what we did that day, maybe share what's nagging on our souls. Eventually, there's always that moment after eating maybe one too many s'mores and drinking just a little too much lemonade. That moment comes that I will always dread. That moment when, despite my incessant foot tapping, I have to pee. So I gather up my courage and I turn on my ridiculously oversized flashlight because, bears. And I leave the safety of that warm fire, my friends and my family, and I head off into the darkness. As I walk those few minutes through the dark woods to the bathhouse, I can feel my pulse racing, my ears straining for every little sound, my eyes staring straight ahead at that small beam of light cast by the flashlight. For I know that out in that darkness are animals, hungry predators, those who would do me harm. And those shadows are ghosts, voices that whisper and taunt. Somehow, in those few moments, everything I ever feared becomes real. For in that darkness is the unknown. This morning, we too seem to be staring off into the unknown. Our world has been turned upside down by this new pandemic. We're told that this will be the worst viral outbreak of our lifetimes. We're told that millions will be infected and many will die. We've been told to stay home, away from our support networks, away from those we love. We're told that this may last weeks, months, who knows? We're told to stay calm and enjoy a nice walk outside. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty scared. I'm scared that I'll get sick. I'm scared that my kids will get sick. I'm scared that my mom, who's highly vulnerable due to her lung cancer, will die from this virus. But more than anything, right now I'm scared of those dark woods, that unknown. Because, none of us really know what's to come. However, if I think about it, this sense of unease and communal anxiety is really nothing new. I mean, think about it. Just in these first 3 months of 2020, we have had multiple compounding attacks on our sense of safety and security. We began the year with a divisive impeachment who brought out the worst in our political leaders, leaving us worried if those who were entrusted to run our government could stop arguing long enough to get anything done. And we just lived through an unusually warm winter with almost no snow, with temps in the 60s in mid-February. And I could feel my anxiety grow as I was reminded of the damage we've done to our environment, wondering if it's going to get any better. Then we heard months ago of this outbreak of coronavirus on distant shores, and we wondered if and when this might make it closer to home. We worried if we too would be affected. Surely not. We've all seen this before. SARS, Ebola, our leaders we knew would protect us. Now as we're locked down in our homes for who knows how long, we're scared. Rightfully, we're fearful of what's to come. And to throw insult onto injury, now we are beginning to lose our jobs. And we're told to brace for a serious economic downturn. Those of us who are older wonder what this will do to our retirement plans, our stocks, our financial security. There is much to be fearful of these days. And these are not simply passing shadows in the woods. These threats are real. With all of these compounding worries, lately I've been feeling a little bit like Giles Corey from The Crucible, as more and more stones of fear have been placed upon my chest. Distrust in our elected officials, more weight. Worry about the climate catastrophe, more weight. Fear of widespread infection, more weight. Loss of financial security, no more. I can't take any more weight. That's enough. Like most of us, usually my daily concerns are much closer to home. Will I be able to make Lila's sandwich quick enough so that she won't be late to school? Will Maya be able to cope with all of the homework in high school and balance all of that with her extracurricular activities? Is my wife's job secure? And what would happen if she were to be laid off? Will I finish writing a sermon in time for Sunday morning? My daily concerns are typically focused on those things I actually have control over. St. Thomas Aquinas wrote 700 years ago about how society, he believed, should be structured. He called this circles of virtue and love. Essentially, we are all inside of many larger concentric circles. The innermost circle being our family, followed then by our church and our local community, followed by the state, then the country, then the earth. He claimed that our love and our concern should mostly and first be focused on those closest to us. And we know this to be true. For we as parents, we focus our love and care primarily on our children, for this is our true responsibility. And while we may be concerned with the affairs of state, of taking care of our world, we may even become involved in changing these larger circles in our own small way. I think we all assume that our mayors and our governors and our senators and presidents are taking care of us. But what happens when we lose trust that this is happening? See, I think deep down, we all expect our leaders to be the adults of our country. In the same way, we make sure that our kids get enough to eat, they have clothes on their backs, they have a safe place to sleep, and go to the doctor when they're sick. We expect our leaders to do that for us. For we simply can't be in charge of everything. We have enough weighty stones of our own to deal with. That's what's so upsetting to me about the lack of coherent preparation and response to the coronavirus. For months, our leaders were denying the problem, deflecting the attention elsewhere, blaming the country of origin, denying the science, and more critically, not preparing for the future. And regardless of our political perspective, this is simply not acceptable. We can't take it. No more wait. So here we are, staring off into that dark unknown, not sure what our shared future will bring. Friends, if you've been having trouble sleeping, you've been having trouble turning off the news, trouble holding back the tears, if you find yourself lashing out at those closest to you, you're not alone. I mean, you are experiencing a normal response to trauma. And that fear that you're feeling is real. And it's important that we talk about it openly and honestly. So, you know, even in the midst of all this fear, I'm reminded of the words of one of my childhood heroes, Mr. Rogers. He said, when I was a boy, I would see scary things on the news. My mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You'll always find people who are helping. And today, I think we all know there's helpers everywhere. I mean, during this crisis, we are so grateful for our nurses and EMTs and doctors who are putting their own safety at risk to test, to treat, and to care for those who are sick. And we're grateful for the grocers and the restaurateurs and the delivery drivers who are working day and night just to keep us fed, even though this could likely put them at higher risk. And we're grateful for our elected officials who are taking this threat seriously and who are working around the clock to develop safety plans and give resources to those who need it the most. We're grateful for teachers and principals and guidance counselors who have had to invent brand new educational models so that our children can still learn and grow and cope with this really scary time. And we're grateful for those first responders for keeping our streets safe and allowing those essential workers to continue to do their jobs, making sure essential resources get in the right hands. There's so many helpers out there today, and that's what gives me hope. And friends, you know, what also gives me hope is all of you. You know, for even though we're scared, even though we're losing our jobs, even though some of us are getting sick, this congregation has continued to worship together, to call one another, to buy groceries for one another, to hold each other in the best way we know how. For we know that we're in this together, and we will continue to provide community to all those who seek it. So if those stones on your chest are getting a bit too heavy, let us hold them for a while. For that's what we do. Amen. Now I would invite Eva to lead us in our closing hymn, One More Step. If you'd like to join along, please keep your microphone muted and sing the words found printed in your order of service.
One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone.
And as we say goodbye for now, I leave you with the words of Henry David Thoreau. When I hear music, I fear no danger. I am invulnerable. I see no foe. I am related to the earliest of times and to the latest. Let us all hold the beauty of our shared music in our hearts until we meet again. Here ends our worship. Let our service begin.